Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about improving our Linux command line productivity. Linux shell scripting is a strong tool for system administrator to automate the daily repetitive tasks. When you are running the same commands every day, you could actually automate them by putting in a shell script, and that's how you could increase the command line productivity. So, in this video, what we're going to learn is what is a shell, shell scripting, basic shell scripts, input and output of shell scripts, if then script statements, for loop scripts.
Shell. What is a shell? In this lesson, we'll cover about the shell, how the shell works, and how you can run commands within the shell, or how the environment is set up in a shell. So, what exactly is a shell? Shell is like a container, like you have like a Tupperware in your home, or any kind of containers that holds your environment, your information inside of it. It's interfaces between users and kernels or operating systems. So you have built an operating system, and then it is provided a platform you to execute commands. Again, Windows is one of the platform in Windows operating system. When you start up a GUI, you execute commands by double clicking on a program. So that GUI interface is your shell. In Linux, when you don't have a GUI, you are given a terminal shell or CLI command. That is your shell. To find your shell, you could run a command like echo dollar and zero that will tell you what shell you are in. And you could also get a listing of all your shells in your Linux distribution by running the command cat etc shells. Your shell is also inside of etc password that is defined inside of the file. In Windows, GUI is a shell. In Linux, KDE GUI is a shell. In Linux, SH, which is shell, bash, etc. All these are the shell that is provided to a user. Again, we're looking at this diagram again, and we are second from the top. You'll see the application that talks to the shell, and then shell talks to kernel, and kernel is the one that is telling hardware what to do. Let's look at our Linux machine, and we'll see how we could find our shell. We'll open up a terminal real quick. And when you do echo $0, it tells you are in bash. So you could look at the available shell that is installed in your distribution by doing cat etc shells, and it tells you all the shells that are available. And when you look at the etc password, cat etc password, and you'll see in my username, which is right here, it tells the shell is all the way at the end that I have a defined shell which is bin bash. I could change that shell if I want to a different shell, but I try to keep it consistent with other users. So that's what the shell does, and we'll cover in the later lessons how we could talk to shell to create scripts and other things to automate our tasks. Shell scripting. Let's get into some fun. Yes, everyone, it's time to get into some fun where we're gonna create our own scripts, our own commands to run and automate tasks. So what is a shell script? So basically, a shell script is an executable file containing multiple shell commands that are executed sequentially. So every time you create a shell and you have a first command followed by second, third, and fourth, always the first command will be executed followed by the second and third, and so on. So the file of a shell contains the first line is the shell itself. Always define the shell with pound bang /bin/bash. In Linux, most of the time the exclamation point is referred to as bang. So the first line of a shell script is always start with the shell it's gonna run in. Most of the scripts that we will cover are all going to be in bash scripting. Then inside of a shell script, we also have comments where we could tell what this command or what this script does. Every time we put comments, we always start with hash pound sign, followed by all the comments that we want to add. Then we have commands, of course, what exactly you want the script to do. And then we also have the statements, which will tell the script if, then, while, or do, or for loop, or all those different conditions that we will cover one by one. And those are different shell scriptings. A shell script should have executable permission. What it means that when you create a script, of course, a script is just an empty file. Everything in Linux is just file, a flat file, until you change it to an executable or link or just a flat file. So if you go back to the executable permissions learning that you had, you'll remember that the third bit in a file is always executable, which is X, and on the group is X, and on the others is X. So in order for a script to run, it has to have this X bit on it. A shell script has to be called from an absolute path. You always have to define the complete path of the shell, meaning in this case like home, your user directory, and the name of the script. If it is not in an absolute path, you could still run it. If you are in the current location, then you all have to do is put a dot, slash, and the name of your script. Shell scripts and basic shell scripts, and that is fun, and nothing but the fun. That's where we're gonna actually write the shell scripts, and we're gonna run very small shell script to get you started, and you will have your own little shell script, own little commands that you could run. Some of the shell script that we could cover is like outputting to the screen using echo command. We could create tasks such as telling what is your ID, your current locations, the files and directories, and some of your system information. Another way we could create a script that will create your files or directories for you. And then we could also do output to a file within your script. And we could use some of the text processor through scripts, and some of those text processors are like cut, awk, grep, sort, unique, all those different type of commands that we run on a daily basis. We could automate them to see or to get our desired result. So I'm going to get into my Linux machine. I'm going to find out the IP address of my machine, which is 192.168.56.101, and I'm going to log in through a PuTTY session, which I already have saved. I could also type it in. Once I'm in, I could just simply log in, and I could minimize this, and I could focus on my PuTTY session. Okay, in PuTTY session, the first thing we're gonna do is create a directory in our home directory. So are we in our home directory? Let's check. pwd, it tells us we are in our home directory. So I'm gonna create a directory within my home directory, and I'm going to call it my scripts. And then I'm going to go into my scripts, but first let's verify if it created. Yes, it did. And then I'm going to go into my script called my scripts. What's inside? Of course, there's nothing inside. I haven't created any file. So now I want to create a first script. The first script is whether you could touch a file and then VI it. But since we have to write a script, we always start with VI. And I wanted to specify the name that would be output screen, just that, or any name that you decide to pick. When you hit enter, it will bring you to the VI mode. You hit I to insert, and if it is a script, you always start with hash bang / bin bash. This is defining that you're gonna run the script under bash shell environment. Now what do we want it to do is we want it to display something on the screen. So to display something on the screen, you could run a command echo, and then you could type hello world. And once you are done, you could just simply escape and right quit out of this file, and the file is created. You could verify that it has the content that you just added by doing cat output, and it tells you that it does have all those contents that you put it inside of this file. Now, can I run this file by doing dot/output screen? No, I can't, because it's not even telling me that there is anything that exists like that, and it's telling me it's permission denied. Why? Because we do not have executable permissions to our output-screen file, so we have to give it executable permission to all. Execute output screen, and now do ls-n-tr, and you will see it also has changed the color, and it has given executable right to everyone. Now if you run this command, you're gonna see, always run the command. If you are already inside of the directory, you could run the command by / and output. When you run it, it gives you hello world. Hello world. This is your first script, and if you have created this script, I'm telling you, you are already at the initial stage of being a programmer. So pat yourself from in the back, and you should be proud that you could write a script and you could execute it, and it works perfectly. So this is one of the scripts that we did. Oh, by the way, we could also run this script from absolute path, which is home, iavsol, my scripts, and output. Now in this case, we don't need /. We could just run the script from its absolute path, and it will give us the same output. Now I also have some of the scripts that is saved or written in my WordPad. I'm gonna bring that up, and I'm gonna review them to tell you how we could list the command. So I could just simply copy and paste. So here's another script that will run commands for me. So I'm gonna do vi run commands. It's just a name that I'm picking for a file. Once I do that, I hit I, insert, I go here, copy this, and I'm gonna paste that here. So what it does, the first one, as you should already know, defines which shell you are in. You are in bin bash, and that's where this script is gonna run. The next one tells you the description of the script. This defines small tasks. So I'm gonna run small task. It's just a comment. If I wanted to write another comment, is I could do this script is written by Imran Afzal, or I could also say date that was written in 2018. First thing that this script is doing who am I. Who am I is a command that tells you who you are. Then it's running echo. What echo is doing at this point is only gonna give a break inside of your script, which it's gonna give you a space. When you run this command, you're gonna see the output has a space. Then the next command is gonna run is pwd. Next command is gonna run hostname. Next command is gonna run is ls-ltr. And now at the end, let's run the script, save it. Sorry, run commands. Oh, what? I cannot run it. Why? Again, I do not have executable permissions. So I'm going to assign executable permission. I'm going to verify it. Yes, now I have it. Run command. There you go. Remember the first one was who am I? It tells me my username, which directory I'm in. This is a directory. And host name, this is my host name. And ls-ltr, the number of files I have inside. And the reason I put an echo in the middle so I could have these spaces, the empty lines, so it will be easier for me to read it. So that's about getting the task done on our shell scripting, using our shell scripting. Another way, I'm going to cover one more script, is to define variables. When you define variables, it will run those variables to whatever the values I have defined. So I'm gonna create another script called vi variable command. Again, it's just the name of the file that I'm picking. I'm gonna go into insert mode. I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it inside. Okay, let's look at it. What this script is doing. The first line of the script is basically again defining the shell. Second one is telling me what the script does. Now this one is telling me A is for Imran, B is for Afzal, C is for Linux class. Now it will echo is my first name is $A. So what is $A? Right here, variable Imran. Then echo my surname is $B. What is $B? Right here, this defined variable Afzal. And the third one is my surname is C. Sorry, I should change the my surname to my class is $C. And what is that? Linux class. So now let's run this command. Save it. And again, don't forget to change the permissions to executable. And let's run variable command. It says my first name is Imran, my surname is Afzal, and my class is. It didn't tell me the class. Why? Because let's say it says line 6 class this command not found. What's inside of this? Let's look at the file. Why it didn't like it. My class is Linux class. It should say that, but if it is not giving, let's try to get rid of these codes and then run it. My class is still didn't run. Let's try again. See, my class is, because since I have a space, it's not liking it. Let's see why. My class is $C. It should have. Let's try a single quote. And let's see if it works. Yep, there you go. It works. So this double quote doesn't work, single quote does. You might have to troubleshoot a little bit while you are creating your script. So I'm glad I have this problem. So this way you will know exactly when your script doesn't run, how you could troubleshoot. You could tell by the error, and you could tell by the line that it would tell you exactly your script did not run because it has an error in line 6. And the line 6 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's how the shell scripting works. And I really hope by now you have created 3 scripts, and I really encourage you to go online, find shell basic scripts that you could use and run in your environment and see how it works.
Input and output. This lesson is about writing a script where the script will wait for the user input. So when you run the script will wait for it for you to type in something. So it would take your command and then output based on that written statement that you have given to the script. So the way it works is the things are the scripting commands that you need to use for that is read, which will wait for your input, and the output would be echo. So whatever that you input, it will output to the screen using the echo command. So let me log into the machine and I will show you how this could be done before I confuse you more. So I have my machine open right here and I am in my home IFL my scripts directory. I am going to create a script called input script, just like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter. I will define the variable. Next thing, as you know, you put the author. I'm not gonna just wait time. I'm just a date, description, and so on. Anyway, so you should type everything. I would definitely recommend you. So again, since we don't have time, I really want you to learn fast. So don't worry about it at this point. Then you um you put in like echo hello. Hello, my name. Oh, come on. I'm having a bad time typing. Okay, so hello, my name is Imran Afzal. And as you know, it will just simply display that line on the screen. Now, what we wanted to do next, then we wanted to do no, sorry, put echo just for an empty line, and then echo, what is your name? So now we are asking user for user input. And the way the script is going to wait for the user input is by simply the command read. The read is actual command in Unix or Linux that will wait for the user input. Now you have to define a variable to read. So any variable, anything that user types will be automatically added to the variable. And what is that variable? Well, you have to specify or define that variable. Let's say I'll pick any variable. Let's say even I pick name. So we'll say, you know what? When user put in the name, put that input into a container or into a variable, and that variable name is actually name. I'll just, you know what, in simple words, name container. So make it easy so you are not confused with name itself. Now, once the user provides that information, then simply put in an empty line and then do echo hello, and now you put dollar name container or whichever the variable you have defined here. You hit enter and echo, and that's pretty much it. Let's give it proper permissions. Proper permissions are there. Let's run it. Okay, you see the first line on the screen is hello, my name is Imran Afzal, or your name. And now it's asking you what is your name. So it's waiting. See, you didn't get the prompt back. Why? Because the script is waiting for your input. So let's say you wanted to type something, let's say Jerry Seinfeld. And now you hit enter and it's going to say, hello, Jerry Seinfeld. That's how the input and output script works. Of course, it gets a little bit more complicated as we go on, but basically, if you wanted to write a script and you wanted to take the input of the user, you have to use the read command. Now, let's edit the same script, add a few more things in the script and make it more professional. Let's see. Vi input script, and now I wanted to define variable. So I'll say the variable, let's say A equal host name. And you know host name is actual command in Linux that will give you the host name of your system. So I wanted to say hello, my server name is $A. And what is that $A? The $A is the container right here. And that container is what? Host name. That it will show you right here. And then you'll say, what is your name? And now, just for giggles, I wanted to change the read it to just a different container. I'll put B. So just so clarify that do not focus on the container name. Container name could be anything. So you're asking what is your name, and the user who's going to provide the name will be put into the container called B. Now echo hello B and bye. Okay, so now what we are doing, we are saying is that when you run the script, tell the user, hello, my server name is $A. And what is $A? Dollar is the host name. And it will print it here. And what is your name? And you will put in your name, and it will output back to your name. Now, before I run it, I just want to tell you one thing. There will be error in the script. Why? Because when you define a command with a variable, you could run that variable if you only simply type $A. Then it will run it. But if you try to run that variable using like an echo command, then you have to have this ticks on the side. What are those ticks? Those ticks are right below your escape key. Those are the ticks. So you have to have those. But anyway, I want to take it out for now, just so you see that what do we get if we don't put those ticks in there. So escape, save it. Now let's run it. It says, hello, my server name is hostname. Oh, it actually took the exact name that I typed. It didn't think that it's a command. And now it says, what is your name? So now I'm going to put it Imran Afzal, and it's going to say, hello, Imran Afzal. Okay, so this part from right here to here works. This part from here to here works. But I wanted to have my host name here. And what is my host name? My host name is my first Linux VM. I wanted to have that displayed here. So going back to what I was saying is, if you are defining a variable and you want to run that variable with echo, then you have to put the little ticks that is right below the escape character or escape key, and also below that little curly thing. So now let's run it and let's see if it works. Ah, yes, it did. You see right here? Hello, my server name is, this is the host name. What is your name? Okay, Imran Afzal. Hello, Imran Afzal. See, that's how the input and output script works. Try it out with different things, play around with it, and ask question back and forth, back and forth. So first, what you should do is, as your practice, what you should do is you could put more than one read. How you could do it is like this. You put echo, just an empty line, and then you do again echo. What is your profession or your occupation, or what do you do? And then you have to read here again. Read C. and then you do echo again, one more echo, and now put in do you like no, let's put it, what is your favorite show? And now this time read A. We have used B, we have used C, now use D. Okay, that's it. Now what we have to do is, first thing it has to say is echo. It will hello my name. Next thing I want to do is it should echo your profession, which is whatever the profession is, C, is awesome. Okay, next one. $D, which is favorite show, is a good show. You see how I did it? First, I asked 3 questions. 1, 2, and 3. Once I have all those 3 questions asked, then I have put all these questions in different containers, and I am outputting those containers one by one by saying, hello, Imran Afzal, echo, your profession, whichever is awesome. And then your show, whatever the show is a good show. Now let's see if we could run it successfully. /input. Okay, the first name, the first question comes up. What is your name? Imran Afzal. See, now it gave me a second question. It didn't give me the output right away. Now it's waiting for me to give it all the information it wants. What is your profession? Let's say engineer. Okay. What is your favorite show? Seinfeld. And now when I hit enter, because I have answered all the 3 questions, and it will say, hello, Imran Afzal. Your profession, engineer, is awesome. Seinfeld is a good show. See how it works? Now, think of this now. When you are installing a program or you are executing some kind of script, or even if it's Windows or even if it's Linux, now you know that when you going through the wizard and it asks you questions, do you want to install that? You say yes, no, put in your organization name, put it this, you type in your name and this and that, all that information that system gathers from you, it actually plugs that information inside wherever your variable is defined. So that's just a simple example of that. So it's like your little script, a wizard that will take all the information and it will send it out on the screen. You could also take that information and put it in your database, send it out in his email, or whichever the way you want. So that's how you work with input and output scripts.
If-then scripts. Now you know how to write scripts. Now let's get into one step up. Some advanced scripts, some if-then scripts. These are the scripts which will define some variables, and if those variables are met, then you could run those scripts. In if-then script statement, if this happens, do this. Otherwise, do that. So whatever that you define that has to be met, then it will run it. Otherwise, it'll give you some different output depending how you write a script. To better illustrate this concept of if-then script statements, let's get it into our machine. Okay, which directory we are in? We are in our home directory, and the directory inside of it is my scripts. In this directory, we're going to create a new script, and we're going to call it vi if-then script. Again, it does not have to be the name that I'm picking. You could pick any name like my script or XYZ or ABC, anything that you want. So when we want to write a script, you do VI and the name of the file. It will get you into the insert mode. So the first thing you do if you want to write a script is define a variable. Now I already have a script written that I'm going to copy it from, so it will save us time. And this is the script which checks for the variable. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it. Now let's look at what this script does. This script is going to look for count equal 100. So if count equal 100, which is the variable, then it's going to say echo the count is 100. If it is not equal to 100, then it's going to say the count is not 100. So that's what pretty much if else statement does. So let's look at our script. Let's run it. Let's first save it. And once we save it, we'll of course verify the file is created. Yes, what's inside of the file, we'll look into it and it has exactly the same thing that we typed in. Now we need to give executable permission to the script. Verify it. Yes, it does have executable permission, and I'm gonna run it. There you go. It says the count is 100. Perfect. Because we defined in our variable that the count is equal to 100. So what happens if we change the count to, let's say, 1? We save it and we run it. Once we run it, it says count is not 100. So this is the exact purpose of if-then statements. Is if it looks for the variable, whatever the variable is defined, if the variable value is not met, it will tell you exactly what you want it to do. You could also change the output by saying if then else, saying sorry, the count, let's make it lowercase, count is not 100. Again, count is 100. This is our variable, and it says if bracket count equal 100, then echo it, count is 100. Else, otherwise, echo sorry, the count is not 100. And fee is the opposite of if, and it is telling the script now you should exit out, that your work is done. An if else statement is done. So you exit out of it by saving it, and now when you run it, it tells you sorry, the count is not 100. So you just change the output to whatever you want, and that's what the if statement, if else or if then statement does. Another example of if else statement that I'm gonna pick is right here. I'm gonna copy it and I'm gonna create a new script. Is if then new. I'm gonna define the variable which I already copied, and the first command I have clear. It means when the script runs, it's gonna clear the screen. I don't want to see anything that's already on the screen. Next thing it's gonna do is if -e, which is used, which is the option that is used to check if a file exists or not. So it's saying if this file home ifl_arrow.txt file exists, then what you should do, you should then echo file exist. Else, if file does not exist, then say echo file does not exist. And that's what pretty much it's doing. So let's run this command. And we of course have to give executable permissions. Let's verify it has executable permission. Okay, it does. Now let's run it. If now new. Okay, when you run it, it says file does not exist. It's telling you the actual thing. Why? Because there is no file exist. Let's do cat if then, and it's the file exists. Where should the file exist? The file should exist in my home directory error.txt. So I'm gonna create a file now. I'm gonna just touch it and I'm gonna create this file. The file is created. Now I'm gonna run the script. And now it says file does exist. So this is sometimes a very useful command, and it is a very useful tool for system administrators who wanted to run this command at a certain intervals or a certain day, because an application creates some error files or not, and they run this script on cron job to see if the file exists or not. If it does, it means the application is running fine. If it does not, then it means the file does not exist, and it will throw you an error message. So this is a if then statement, and we do have other if else statements examples in this file as well. And this file is also part of your resources, your handouts, and I want you to try out every single script, create every new script, and try out different values that you have here. So this is a very cool script that I have written. It tells you about your name, and it's asking you, do you like working in IT? And it asks you, if you respond yes, it'll tell you you are cool. If it does not, you say you should try IT. It's just a good feel. So I want you to run the script on your own, create a new file, write the script, and execute it. And I'm very sure it will run just fine without any error. For loop scripts, another advanced level of scripting. You are keep getting better, my friends. Keep getting better. The next script that you're gonna run is for loop scripts. For loops, what they do is it keeps running until a specified number of variable. For example, if a variable is defined 10, then run the script 10 times. Or variable is green, blue, red, then run the script 3 times for each color. So it actually simplifies your tasks. If you want to, for example, create files or 10 files, then you don't have to run the command again and again and again. For loops will do it for you. We'll go back into our Linux machine and we'll try a couple of scripts for loops, and then you could try it on your own, and you will become proficient by running these little tiny scripts. So which directory we are in? We are in our home directory. Always home is not just home, but entire home directory. And the directory that we are in is my scripts. So in my scripts, we're gonna create a new script. We're gonna call it this time ABC. Do vi ABC. And the first thing you know already by now is that you define the shell script that you're gonna run this script in, or the shell environment, I would say, that you're gonna run this script in. And again, I have already written a few scripts for you to go over this training, and I'm gonna go into our first script, which is a simple for loop output. I'm gonna copy this script and I'm gonna just simply paste it. This already has a defined shell, so I'm going to delete that line. So what is it doing? For I in 1 2 3 4 5 do. So I here is a variable which is telling that this container, which is the container name is I, it holds the numbers 1 2 3 4 5. And then what is asking it to do? The script is going to do echo welcome variable 1 times variable 2 times variable 3, variable 4, or variable 5 times. And then once it's done, it is done. So that's why we have to define done at the end for the for loop to finish doing what it's doing. So I'm just going to save the file. Once the file is saved, again, you have to give executable permission. The permission is given. Let's verify it. Yes, the ABC file is there. Let's see what's inside of it. Inside of it is exactly has the same thing. Let's run the script. ABC, and there you go. It's doing welcome 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. So basically, if you have a repetitive task, and trust me, you're gonna be working in a corporate environment where you would have to do so many repetitive tasks, and this loop script is gonna become so handy for you that you will be creating scripts for every repetitive task that you will be doing every day. So this is outputting 5 times. Let's look at the second script. So the second script, what it's doing, it's basically doing the same thing, but this time it will just output the names. And I'm gonna make this XYZ as the name of the file. And it has always starts with the shell. The shell name is bin bash. And now this time we're going to put in some comment, and we're going to say this script will output Imran with different actions, because it will say see Imran eat, see Imran run, see Imran jump, and see Imran play. So this is what the script is going to do. So that's why I have put it in just a comment. You could put it more comment. Let's say the script is created by Imran Afzal, and if you want to put a date, you can, but we'll skip that out. And the script starts right here. It's telling you for I in, again, I is a variable, in is you putting inside of your variable, and variable is just like a container. It's telling you put eat, jump, run, play inside of a container called I. Once it has all these 4 words inside of the container I, then do what we are doing. We are echoing see Imran $I. The variable is always be displayed with the dollar and the name of the variable. So it's telling it $I, and then once the script is going to display every word in the container, then it's gonna be done. Once done, the script is created, the script has done its job, and we will verify it. The script is there. Next thing you know by now is to change the permission on the XYZ. So it will have executable permission. And executable permission, once again, I am reiterating again and again, if you cannot run the script, it's because you do not have executable permission. So we do have executable permission. Awesome, perfect. Let's run it. XYZ. It says bash XYZ, no such file or directory. Why is that? Of course, we have put C. It's Z actually, XYZ. So let's run it. And there you go. See Imran eat, see Imran run, see Imran jump, see Imran play. So again, it is doing a repetitive tasks for you. So this for loop is a very strong statement in a scripting environment that will let you run repetitive tasks again and again. So you don't have to do it yourself and spend time all day and creating those little tedious tasks. I want you to write other scripts that I have inside of this file. This file is again in your handouts. I want you to download this handout, create these little scripts again, and run it and see what they do. It will be a great exercise for you.
The grep command, which stands for Global Regular Expression Print, processes text line by line and prints any lines which match a specified pattern. So basically, in simple words, it's a search technology or a search feature in Linux that allows you to search for a specific feature or specific keyword, actually. Sorry, not feature, a specific keyword that you look for in a file or an output from a command. So let's get into a Linux machine and I will show you a few of the commands and examples. So this way you have a better understanding how the grep or egrep command works. I have my Linux machine right here opened, and the first command we will run for grep is always check the version and check for help. So for grep dash dash version, it will give you the version. I know you could read it, you know where to find the version. The next one is grep dash dash help. This will give you all the information about the grep and its options. If you wanted to get a quick list of all the options that are available, you always use grep dash dash help. If you wanted to get the longer description or of every option, you could use man and do grep. And this will give you a detailed information about the grep command. Anyway, so we know the version, we know how to get help, and now let's get to the second lab question, which is to search for a keyword in a file. So I am in my home directory. I'll go back to the Seinfeld directory. In there, I have a file called Seinfeld characters. I'll cat it out, and these are the contents of the Seinfeld directory. Okay, so now if I just clear the screen, go back up, and I will do is I will grep for Seinfeld in the file name Seinfeld characters. It means only give me the lines that matches the word Seinfeld. When I hit enter, there are two lines that match the word Seinfeld, which is Jerry Seinfeld and Morty Seinfeld. I could same way I could do with other files as well. Let's say if I wanted to grep for my username iafzal in etc password, I could do the same thing, grep iafzal/etc/password, and it will go into the file and search for that specific keyword. And it brings back one line because there is only one user in etc password that has the word iafzal. And that's me, of course. All right. Next command or the next syntax that we'll learn is search. Search for a keyword and count it. So if I am doing, let's hit up arrow key twice, and this is the command we ran again, which is to grep Seinfeld from Seinfeld characters, and it gives me 2. But what if you have a file that has thousands of words that matches your criteria, and you wanted to know how many times it shows up? Then you could just simply do grep -c, and it would tell you that it is showing up 2 times. So that's what -c is used for. The next one is -i, which is the one that you should always use, and I have a habit of using grep with always -i. What -i does is it actually searches for a keyword and ignores the case sensitive, meaning if I have grep Seinfeld characters, it gave me 2 Seinfeld. What if I have and inside of this file I have a Seinfeld with lowercase s. So let's say if I'm grepping for Seinfeld with lowercase s, then hit enter, it's not giving me anything, even though I know there's a word Seinfeld in it. So that's why I always use -i option to tell my system, hey, ignore any uppercase or lowercase from that keyword and from that file. When you do -i, it actually greps and gets you the result regardless whether they are written in uppercase or lowercase. Next one is N displays the match lines and their line numbers. So we used, let's clear the screen, and if you remember we used -c option, which gives you the total number of lines that matched our criteria. Now I wanted to see those lines too and the line number where exactly it happened. So in that case I hit up arrow key and replace -c with -n. Hit enter,
And you will see it will give me the two lines that match my criteria, and it also telling me the first line is actually on the line number 1 and the second match line is line number 8. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, I like it. Okay, next one is minus V, also very powerful, meaning what if you wanted to get everything but that search keyword. So let's say if I wanted to get all the lines that do not match Seinfeld. So let's do grep minus a V Seinfeld, or I could just do VI or IV to include I as in to ignore Seinfeld from Seinfeld characters. And now you will see I have a list of every line, the whole file content. But this does not have that to Jerry Seinfeld and Morty Seinfeld. These two lines are omitted or are excluded from it because I use the minus V option. So minus V is basically telling the system, give me everything except this search keyword. Alright, the next one is what if you want to combine the keyword with other text processor commands that we have learned previously, right? Yes, we could definitely do that. So let's say if I type grep Seinfeld, or let me run the same command, the last command, grep minus vi Seinfeld and Seinfeld characters, right? Right. So what if I wanted to print from this output? I only wanted to print the first column. Then what you could do is you could hit up arrow key, pipe it right here, awk it, and dollar. By the way, it chopped down the line. It is not actually putting into a new line. It's a continuation of the same line. If you make your window bigger, you will see it is coming up in one line. Let me show you real quick. You see, if I do it this, see it went back. So print $1 and curly braces and code close. And now it's giving me only the first column of my matched criteria. Now, what if I wanted to get only the first 3 letters of this output? Can you guess? What could that be? I'm sure you know how to do it. But if you forgot, that's fine. You hit up arrow key. Now you could put another pipe. And now that you could do cut minus C for characters, and you want the first 3, that would be 1 minus 3, 1 through 3, because you're picking the range. And now you'll see it is giving you everything except the keyword line that matches Seinfeld. Alright, let's clear the screen. Let me make my window a little smaller, and I'll move on to the next one, which is ls minus l. So grep does not only search for a keyword from a file, it actually searches for any keyword from any output of a command. So let's say if I have, let me go to my home directory. So it's home, I've installed Seinfeld, so I'll go one step back. So cd dot dot will bring me back to my /home I've installed directory. Now in here, when I do ls minus l, you're gonna see the listing of all the files and directories. Now what if in this output I only wanted to see the line that matched the file or directory desktop? So I hit up arrow key, pipe it, and now I'll grep it for desktop. And let's say, just for giggles, I'll use the lowercase d and hit enter, and it's not going to give me anything. Why? Because if you notice, the desktop has the uppercase D. So you could either hit up arrow key and replace the lowercase d with uppercase, or leave it as it and put minus I option to ignore the case sensitive. Hit enter, and you're going to see that it is pulling only that line that matched the word desktop. Isn't that cool? Alright, now let me go into the grep and egrep functionality. Now you know grep works perfectly on every keyword. Now the egrep comes into play when you want to search 2 words from a file. So let's clear the screen. Let's go into the Seinfeld directory. In Seinfeld directory, we have a file called Seinfeld. Let's cat that Seinfeld's characters file. Hit enter, and you'll see these are the contents of that file. Now what if I wanted to get the list or lines that match not only Seinfeld but also Costanza?
For that, we will use the egrep, which is a little powerful command than grep. So it will be egrep minus I. Of course, I want to ignore uppercase or lowercase. Here you'll put double quote, the keyword, and the first keyword I want to search for Seinfeld. Then for the second keyword, you have to put a pipe in the middle, and then put the second keyword, which would be Costanza. Close with the double quotes, and of course specify the file name from where you are trying to search. You hit enter, and now you will see it is picking up. Let me make this bigger, and hit the up arrow key so you know what exactly the output. Now you see it's giving me Jerry Seinfeld, George Costanza, Frank Costanza, Estelle Costanza, and Morty Seinfeld. So all the lines that match Seinfeld and Costanza's are there. So again, if you wanted to awk it out for the second column, if you wanted to cut it out for certain characters, you could definitely do that by putting pipe after one another.